Hey, IDS 301. Welcome to Module 4. Let's get her started. I'm coming back to my origination. I'm an IDS guy, but I've had COVID all week, last week. Um, Tested positive from Monday. Um, Luckily, I've been vax boosted. Just had an antibodies test. Just had a negative test on Friday. Monday after classes, I started feeling cruddy. Did a home test, positive. Did a test at local Kiwanis Park from Tempe and turned out to be positive. So I've been in isolation all week until today. My son also, but he went back to work. He avoided it. Enough about that. I made it through, it was a cold on steroids. So thankful for that. And I'm still not going to go back to class until Wednesday just to play it safe. All right, let's talk about Module 4, shall we? Well, got my notes here, got the book behind me, I think. Okay, so I thought I had these in order, but anyways, capitalize the disciplines. This is important. I think I'm going to go back to Module 3. I started with capitalized disciplines. Easter egg number 1 was capitalize the disciplines. And then many of you went ahead and did the discussion board on the domestic terrorism, and you did not capitalize the disciplines. When I'm really picky, I say, you have no disciplines there. If they're not capitalized, they're not disciplines, okay? So if you don't understand what the concept of capitalize the disciplines mean, please let me know in an email so I can talk to you about it. It's the same as capitalize your first name, capitalize the capital of every state. I mean, capitalize the disciplines, okay? Need to do it. I will be dinging if I haven't started already. I can't remember where I am, but that's what happens. Okay. Also, again, I'm gonna say, and I'm sorry if I feel a little, maybe I'm cranky today. I don't know, but uh, I've given you the answer, the big answer to the big picture. I've given it to you. I've set up a plate and I've scooped it on, poof, and I said, here you go. Integration, use it. And yet, some people still either think they can have a better definition or aren't listening to me. Even when I say Easter egg is integration, IDS equals integration. Because when you got to the interdisciplinary committee part, if you did not use the word integration, then that was, I was shocked, and I expect that to be used because that was like giving it to you there, okay? What the difference of that committee does is it integrates the knowledge, right? So most of you did really well on that. I will say congratulations. I was very impressed. Overall, it was probably the best class overall performance on that assignment that I've seen. And I take responsibility for the blame for that. And I give you the credit because I guess I was able to explain it a little clearer. Some of you went over the top with verbiage. You don't have to do that. Yes, it's a scenario, but you don't have to go through different bills in the assembly and all kinds of things. Next thing you know, we'll be talking about the filibuster. No, it was just a scenario, basic. Try to keep in mind, the risk, when I say risk reward, points reward, right? I'm watching Canada USA here right now. But anyways, because it's Sunday, by the way, July 30th. So you want to, don't overthink, okay? Don't think more is better. Don't think less is better, okay? Just do the best you can without trying to over puff a piece and then avoid the description. Some of you had big explanations and never once mentioned a single discipline. Okay, so that's a problem. All right. So, yeah, also random occupations are not capitalized. Don't overcompensate when I say capitalize the disciplines and freak out and say, okay, so would child psychologist be a proper noun? Would politician be a proper noun? And then just do it just to be cover yourself. No, I'll ding you for it. I mean, proper grammar is proper grammar. I'm just saying capitalize the disciplines. Occupations, are not capitalized unless there's a specific occupational reason for that, okay? All right, so there you go. If you have any questions about the discussion board, let me know, all right? Because it's an important concept to get. And again, I'm really happy you got most of that. Most of you, I gave away that cross-disciplinary as a freebie. Many of you got it anyways. It's a challenging one, but some of you really got it on the ball. You took the information right from the readings where it was there and clear as day, and you utilized it, all right? Be careful on papers that you submit, the plan of study being the one that I'm thinking of. It's the only one you've had, I believe. You need to have the correct font. Times New Roman 12-point font. You need to have it double line spaced. Okay, again, don't overcompensate by giving all these line gaps. It needs to be paragraph indents. This is appropriate writing, all right? Please adhere to those things, all right? So let's go right to Easter egg number 1, which is, you could hear it coming, capitalized disciplines is Easter egg number 1. So module 4 goes from, tomorrow until next Sunday. You're going to read Tanner, Tanner, chapters 3, 4, and 5. Sorry, it's the COVID. I'll blame that on COVID. Chapters 3, 4, and 5. Easy read, good reads. I reread it. I reread it again over the week that I was out. I've read it every time I've had to teach the course and reread it because it keeps me fresh, and it's a good way to understand some of the foundational material as well as a good way to pass the quiz that's coming. All right, then you're going to read Petrie. Do you see what I see? A fabulous foundational articles, one of the best pieces you can read that explains a lot of this, that gives you context to what IDS is, what integrative thinking looks like. Now, keep in mind that he said, he made a distinction here. He said, I want to make here a distinction that I shall not be concerned with a single person who acquires more than one disciplinary competency. I want to put the brakes on that to say that's fine, but I want you to think of it as, it doesn't mean it's not about you, because we're talking about being an interdisciplinarian to understand the processes and the process of integration, what it might look like, what it doesn't look like, what makes multidisciplinary different from interdisciplinary. And so he wants to talk about, yes, he's talking about participants from different disciplinary perspectives, and he's not focusing on the individual, but that's easy to kind of set aside, all right, because we're talking about processes here, all right? And it's good for you to think of it maybe as separate people, all right? So he said, in the first place, the participants need to recognize that different disciplines do have different cognitive maps, and that these maps may well get in the way of successful interdisciplinary inquiry. By cognitive map here, I mean the whole cognitive and perceptual apparatus utilized by any given discipline. This includes, but is not limited to, basic concepts, models of inquiry, what counts as a problem, observational categories, representation techniques, standards of proof, types of explanation, and a general idea of what constitutes a discipline. Picture that. That is, a disciplinary map. So we're talking about a map, right? A map of any kind. And disciplines have maps, all right? To map out a discipline means to identify particular categories and criteria in that discipline that differs from that discipline. So if you have, business marketing, there are concepts, theories, observational techniques, everything in there is different than it would be for architecture. Or maybe it isn't completely different, but it's different enough. Each one has a map, okay, that we map out, all right? So the present point, however, is that if disciplines do differ in their cognitive maps, then quite plainly, until these maps are shared by the interdisciplinary participants, or you yourself, they will be unable to see the relevance of their colleagues' points of view to the problem at hand. If they do not learn other disciplinary maps, at least some of the discussion will be necessarily misunderstood. So at least some of the discussion is going to be misunderstood, for it will be processed in terms of the participant's own map, which may not be the same as that of the person who offered the comment in the other work, okay? So one needs to learn enough so that his knowledge can be used to interpret the problem in the other area, other discipline. So again, you don't have to sit here and learn everything you have to about your two concentrations. You may explore other areas, and you're, obviously, like Southwest Air, free to move about the country. You're free to move about academia, as long as you're aware as an interdisciplinarian that each discipline has their own separate criteria, their own map, and to understand that, to communicate with the other one. Again, if I get three people, three academic experts in a room, and I'm telling them to discuss this new bridge, and they start talking to each other, and they quickly realize that none of them know what the hell the other two are talking about. Why is that? Because one's an architect, one's a dentist, and one's a musician. One's talking about an architectural bridge. One's talking about a bridge in the teeth. One's talking about a bridge in music. Okay, that's a very obvious point that's clear, but taken to an extreme. That shows you. And of course, you move in, there's more nuance then between disciplines, where terminology and things can be confusing or conflicting. All right. So then you're going to look at it, look at these drawings. Are you going to see the old woman or the young woman? Are you going to see both? Are you going to see the rabbit, or are you going to see the, what is it? The rabbit and the duck and the bikini and the martini. Okay. So take a look at those. Interesting article. Now, you're also going to look at a video about the gecko. The gecko is it's about 11 and a half minutes long. Very interesting. It's not about Geico insurance, it's about the gecko. And I think Robert Full is his name. Either he is, he's a biologist, I believe. Very interesting. Give you an idea about interdisciplinary. And then a little 1.5 minute promotion for the mug, the mighty mug. Check those two out, because you'll be writing a discussion board on that. And I think this is a fascinating one that students really get into doing, okay? So your quiz 2, the discussion board will be due, the 4th, which is Friday. All right. And then the quiz 2, chapters 3, 4, and 5, and Petrie will be due on Saturday the 5th. And then the Q&A, I called it an essay, but I want it to just be a Q&A. And I want you to make sure you if you're going to count your total words, you can make it 415, because I want it to be minimum 350 and 65 of it is the questions. So that's due the 6th. And in that Q&A, let's see what we got in that. I just want to be sure I have the right. Let's see, 301, module 4. We're just flying right through this class, huh? So it's worth 40 points, and it's about, do you see what I see? And there's 7 questions there, okay? 7 questions, very clear, all right? Not too many of these questions are interpretive. They're almost, you read it, put it in there, okay? Now, I am not requiring you to do works cited here, okay? I know where this is coming from, okay? I mean, yes, it could be Tanner. If you want to say Tanner, mention Tanner. If it's from, you're talking about, no, you don't have to use Tanner. It's all pretty much Hugh Petrie. And by the way, that article is from 1976. Go class of 76. The bicentennial year. That was my high school graduation. Okay. Whew, by the skin of my nose there. All right. So check that out. I think it's good to remember. The Q&A should be typed in Word, Times New Roman, 12-point font. Okay, double line space. Let me add that. Why didn't I add that? I'm going to add double line spacing. I'm not worried about paragraph indent stuff, because you got these questions. Just use the questions. Use the Q&A. No cover page. Don't make it fancy. Double line spacing. Single line, you just jam it all together, and I don't like that. I got to read a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I got over 100 students doing probably 400 different pieces a week when it comes to the choices some of these classes have. All right, so let's do Easter egg number 2, and let's call it format correctly. Format correctly. Just to remember that this is not a text message, it's a paper. So you need to use capital I's when you're talking about a pronoun of I. Don't use I with the dot, okay? You just don't fly right through, all right? Just use some grammar. I know grammar and spelling and writing seem to be going the way of reading a round clock with 2 hands. Nobody does it. It's going with handwriting, which I suck at and always have, and I'm probably good enough for me to say goodbye to that. I'm left-handed, which it gives me a problem with that. But I like to draw, but that's okay. Anyways, so I think we got this covered here. Oh, I want to talk to you about the maps preview that I included in this module. I want you to look at it. And this is, again, I'm emphasizing where I did not emphasize in previous course classes to get this done, okay, to know what's coming. And you notice I emphasized the term maps quite a bit when I was reading from Petrie there, all right? And so this is a good time to introduce the maps assignments. If you'll notice, I have 2 separate pages for these maps assignment. It's maps 1, due in module 6, maps 2, due in module 6. And when you come to the module 6, you'll see them again. Maps 1 is due 100 points. Maps 2 is due separately 100 points. Those 2 are worth 2 grade levels. 2 grade levels. So do not. If you procrastinate and wait for the calendar on February 19th to say, oh, you got a maps due today, I better start on this. Chances are you're maybe can get a C in this class, maybe, but I don't think so. Okay, maps 1 and 2 just have to be done, and you have to think about it. This is the way school is. Sometimes you have long projects. This is one. Start giving some idea on this. Now, to do that, okay, I duplicated the assignments here so you can see what they're like, but preparing for maps is a page. In there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attachments. 5, okay? You got the introduction for your disciplinary maps assignment. Read it carefully. You've got the disciplinary maps assignment itself. Read it carefully. You've got a maps assignment template just to make it simple so you can get an idea what I'm looking at here. Okay? Then you've got concepts and theories examples. So this, because some people go, well, I don't know the difference between concept and theory. This will go through some disciplines and give you an example so you can see how they differ. And then finally, I added a map sample of a map sample 1. Both maps are separate. They're submitted separately. Each one has its own criteria listing and its own works cited. The other one, everything's separate, its own works cited. I want to be clear on this because this is due February 19th and 20th. There will not be any extensions on this because that is 3 weeks from now, right? I mean, let's just take a look at the calendar for officially. The 19th and 20th of February is a Saturday and Sunday, which are 1, 2, 3 weeks from today and last night. All right, so that's plenty of time for you to get to it. Start entertaining thoughts about it. Start outlining for it. Start considering what you're going to do for it. Start looking for sources for it. And was a big save by the U.S., huh? Oh, yeah. And look and see if you have any problems that you can ask me about. Because some people inevitably will say, oh, I can't find anything about this. There's nothing about business on the internet. I mean, it's going to become absurd like that. You're going to think, how can I have a discipline and I can't find anything about it? Okay. So if that's you, then we got to get together and talk, right? So I want you to really, consider that. And that's where we get to Easter egg number 3. Don't put off maps. Don't put off maps, okay? That's all I got. We're almost at 20 minutes. I did pretty well. I'm doing 4 of these today. Ouch. So you all have a good week. I hope you're feeling okay. And I hope I feel as good as new by Wednesday. So forks up. Peace.